we have group 3. Take it away, guys.
Alright, so the first game is based on the Brothers Grimm Godfather tale, and it's a psychological thriller. The game is set in a first-person perspective. However, as you kind of progress through the game, we're going to be deliberately changing up pretty much everything about the game. So at the start, you start off in a very contemporary, real-world hospital. But the main character which you're playing as is a bit of a silent protagonist, so you're literally kind of putting yourself onto the player. And everything about the world is slowly kind of breaking because the main character has got this kind of psychological problems. So for example, to kind of segregate the levels, we've got staircases, and as we're progressing through the stairs, they'll start to change, they'll get elongated, and just start breaking off and this kind of stuff. However, to kind of disorientate the players a bit, we're also putting in CCTV camera angles. So it changes from first person to a more kind of classic horror film. Interesting. But yeah, the kind of main audience is probably people between about 17 and 30. Obviously, because it's set in a hospital, there's lots of different things which you can do with that aesthetically. So you've got MRI, you've got a maternity ward because you've got this. He is ultimately a father, so he's got daddy issues kind of thing because he's oh, I don't really fancy having kids. So he's got this massive psychological battle inside him. And obviously the main thing is that he's got this constant drug problem. So we've got these pills inside the game, which you're constantly having to take to retain your sanity. If you don't take these, the levels become progressively more and more crazy, and it ultimately ends to 2 different kind of endings. So if you get to the end and you haven't been taking any pills, it's a lot harder for you, but then you finally get to meet the Godfather at the end of the game.
10 seconds.
Otherwise, then you get really creeped out and you probably jump out a window or something to this extent.
Okay, your time's up. Any questions on that?
Why would I play this game?
I think it's given a lot of options for pretty much anyone, so ultimately you're not walking around and you're just shooting people. It's not a particularly generic game. We haven't really found that many games which are particularly similar to it, so it's more of a kind of exploration thing.
I'm just a little bit concerned because I'm 44 and I don't fit into your bracket of 17 to 30.
I think that it's got themes on it which haven't really been ever touched before for games, so it might appeal to you, but it is very much oh, okay, do you kind of fancy this particular genre? Okay. Are you into psychological thrillers?
The average gamer in the UK is 38 and female. The average in the US is 48 and female. So.
Is this just a random stat?
No. This is
okay.
It's getting older and more female as time goes on. I'm just sort of letting you know that 17 to 30 is lovely, but
okay.
You would miss an awful lot of market potential.
Okay.
I think that based on what we're doing over the course of time, I think we're probably going to be grounding down the audience very much. So it's not exactly appealing to a massive audience, but because you know the audience very selectively, you can appeal far more towards them.
Okay, can we have the next idea, please?
Okay, the second idea is based on the story of the 4 brothers. The story is there's 4 brothers sent off by their father to learn a trade. The first brother is a blacksmith, the second a thief, third a hunter, and the fourth an astronomer. When they return from learning their trades, they find their father's been possessed by an evil demon, and he's stolen the princess of the land and has taken over the castle and the keep, standard generic story. And to take it back over, the brothers have to either join together or take it on. So you get to pick one of the brothers to play as, and each one has a different set of selective skills. The general idea is it's a strategic game like tower defense. So the idea is you have towers to take over and fortifications to attack. Normal tower defense games, you are the defender, but in this one we flip it to make it unique so that you are the attacker. And also you can take over your specific brother for a short period of time to do major devastating damage.
That also allows for replayability because you've got different characters, you can keep on playing the game as different characters.
The optional sort of mechanics we're going to put in is an RPG element, so you can level up and change your skill sets and join together and boost morale by using multiple brothers rather than one.
Okay, any questions on that? Oh, right then, last one then.
Okay, this game is based on The Shadow from Hans Christian Andersen, and basically, backstory to the game is that you're a writer and he falls asleep one night and his shadow splits away from him. The shadow becomes a real man. Now, when he wakes up, he chases the shadow, and we've got him to that he ends up in an abandoned warehouse. This is where the game starts in this setting. Basically, the idea and the objectives is, first of all, you cannot go into the shadows. You've got to stay in the light. We're going to have lots of dynamic lighting and lots of ways that we can add different lights, like flares or camera flashes that will give you a brief time that you can stay in the light. We've also going to have things that are like a swinging light bulb, then you have to stay in the light around, to go around corners and stuff like that. It's going to be first person, and if you look away from a light, there is a chance that the shadow will turn it off, and he will try and like trap you in the darkness. So the objective is to escape from the shadow, and ultimately, at the end, you will try and trap the shadow in light yourself and try and reclaim your own shadow. Unique selling points is obviously we've got lots of dynamic lighting and loads of different ways you can edit that, and there'll be flicking lights and lots of stuff like that. Also, a major thing is that we're going to have a limited colour scheme. So a lot of the game is going to be kind of unsaturated colours and grayscale with very few colours, so it kind of like adds a creepiness, and it kind of allows the player to sort of see things out the corner of their eye, that if it was in bright colour, it wouldn't be as scary, it wouldn't be as creepy, and it kind of adds your own imagination to it because it won't be in full colour. You won't have any weapons. You'll have to use the lights and stuff that you find to add light. You won't have to go in there and actually fight him with a sword or anything.
10 seconds.
I think the target market would be. It doesn't have any gore or anything, so anyone, but probably sort of 7-Up, as it's got a creepy element to it. So I think it's it.
Okay, any questions on that?
Yeah, if you do that one, could I suggest rather than grayscale, you put more of a blue tinge to it, because otherwise you end up having it just really, really dark, and you literally can't see anything. But if you sort of have it where you have shades of blue, there's almost a light there, but you can still show the shadow.
Instead of just taking away the colour, all the colour, just add a limited to it. So it's still got
absolutely.
You still haven't got the bright everything you can see, but it won't be just dark.
But don't make it totally dark, because then you'll just lose the gameplay with it, because you're just going, I can't see.
Okay, thank you very much.
What do you guys think, if you had a gun to your head, what do you guys think is most feasible out of those three ideas yourselves?
Probably the shadow.
I think the shadow's probably the most interesting.
Yeah, I suppose interesting. I mean, from that point of view, a lot of it would be post-process effects in UDK, which is fine, The morphable scenery sounds cool,
but
it'd be a lot of smoke and mirrors.
Yeah.
And tower defence sounds cool,
but
a lot of pathing,
Yeah.
sort of AI. None of those will be completely outside your scope, but there's more to maybe learn with those than that. But
I
think it would be we would be quite worried if we had to do the AI. I guess we'd have to learn how to do that.
I'd be worried if you had to do the AI as well.
I'm particularly worried.
If you're drawing attention to the atmosphere and the art in this last one, which it sounds like it kind of is, it's going to have to be quite good.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's what we.
Okay.
We can kind of push what we know.
I think that's where the strength lies in
people
the
that
team.
we
That's
can
cool,
really
that's
like.
fine.
Okay.
go with that.
Got my modelling improvement. Ah, sweet.
Thank you very much.